Everybody, welcome to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk basketball, and more basketball. We're going to have the head coach from Auburndale High School, Eric Robinson, here. We're going to have the head girls coach from Winter Haven High School, Johnnie Lawson, and the head boys basketball coach from Bartow High School, Terrence McGriff. Stick around, everybody, for this week's edition of Sports Central. Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan alongside Kris Keprios, and I can't believe Thanksgiving is next week.
I know, yeah. The end of this year coming up can't come soon enough, I guess.
I guess that's why they allowed us to do the show.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't go well, it's the end of the year, it's okay.
Yeah.
This segment brought to us by Party Rentals, but we appreciate them, great partner of tourism and sports. But Kris, you know that we're in the midst, and we'll talk in our fourth segment of the playoffs, high school football, and volleyball has been completed, and some of the other sports that were in the fall. But it means basketball time, and this entire show is dedicated to high school basketball because, you know, there's a lot of conversation in Polk County, 863 for a long time, that football kind of rules, but that's not necessarily true.
No.
Basketball has a long history of success here in Polk County, as well as softball and baseball, so we're going to highlight basketball today, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and with us being the home of the state championships, these coaches that we talked to and all the coaches at Polk County have a little extra motivation to play that home game at the end of the year. So it's always exciting to start the basketball season. And really with everything going on, with the NBA kind of extending their season, it's like basketball, there was never an off season, which is great.
Right. Well, we're going to go ahead and welcome our first guest today, and it's going to be Eric Robinson, the head coach of the Auburndale High School Bloodhounds boys basketball program. And Coach, I guess if we'd have thought about it, we could have just had you come over to our office in Auburndale and we could have shot this, but welcome to Sports Central.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I know in some conversations we've talked about maybe there's some renewed energy. There was, everybody kind of got sent home and there was time off and all those things. And you've talked about recently renewed energy for the program. You've been at Auburndale quite a while, haven't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This will start my 19th year as the head coach, and I did 6 years of JV before that. So, you know, a total of 25 years coaching basketball at Auburndale.
That's exciting stuff, and I know that there's a real fraternity of coaches, and we've got two more coaches here, but one of the things I've seen recently on social media is the high school football players all rooting for each other in the playoffs, and I know the same is true in basketball. It's different when you face off on the court, but there's really a fraternity of coaches in the county. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is. I mean, you know, I think especially this year, I feel like it's going to be a little more competitive than most folks might think, you know. And I know on my off nights, most of the time, I'm always looking for a good game that I can go watch, and sometimes, or most of the time, I end up over here in Bartow.
Well, Coach Neal talked about kind of that break in the time when people were home. What did you tell your players, you know, especially this has been an off season probably obviously like no other. What did you tell your players as far as preparing and how you wanted them to be ready when they came in to start training and start the season?
Yes, sir. I mean, you know, really, I had a couple weeks off from work, like right when the pandemic started.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was just trying not to get too fat those couple weeks off. And so really, I wasn't thinking much about basketball. I was just trying to take my mind off of things and take care of my family, talk to my kids about taking care of themselves. And, you know, we were just trying to get everything prepared just for when things did open back up. You know, we knew it would sooner or later. And I've always kind of been involved with travel ball, you know, keeping my kids together and doing some things with them. And I knew it was going to be very big for us because we wouldn't get, you know, any summer league, wouldn't get any team camp, stuff like that. So we just kind of sat around waiting for things to open up. And once they did, you know, just trying to do as much as we can to kind of prepare for October, November. So we were out and about a lot with about 6 or 7 of my guys on a travel ball team. So
nice.
I think there's so many great things about sports, but as we're talking about this, the opportunity for continuing the education, an opportunity maybe to go to school where that opportunity may not exist otherwise. And it doesn't have to all be Division I. It can be through any level of play. Talk a little bit about how important getting the season in, kind of like it was for football and the other sports, to have that opportunity so coaches and college programs can see these student athletes, because a lot of them miss that opportunity this summer.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because just last night I talked to my guys after our game about what your last game could look like. You know, we really have no idea how long our season could go. I mean, we're expecting a full season. But I talked to them last night about, you have to play every game like it's your last one, you know, because we have I think 7 or 8 seniors on our team this year. A few of those guys are expecting to go play college basketball, and you don't want your last game to be your worst, and don't have any film or anything like that to send off to college coaches. So that's just how we're preparing them. Just play every game like it's your last game, and every game like it's 1,000 college coaches in the stands looking at you. So.
Coach, you mentioned a second ago, after your game last night. So you started off, some tip-off classics and things like that, some exhibition games. How's it looking? How are you looking for this season again with a weird off season? Obviously, the team may progress a little slower than normal, but how are they looking so far?
Yeah, definitely that. I mean, we had a few kids come over to Auburndale, so it's been a little different. I think we have maybe two kids from last year's team coming back. So it's going to take a little time to put it together. I did the schedule for the preseason tip-off that we had, so I wanted to make sure we scheduled a tough team that could somewhat look like a playoff team or a regular season game in Santa Fe, which we played last night, and it was just that. You know, it was a good game for both teams, and you know, we know their guys, but we don't know much about them and what they do. So it was good for some kids to get their feet wet and get a chance to get a good basketball atmosphere, something that they might not have been used to before. And it went pretty good. You know, we came up a little short last night, but it was definitely a good learning experience for our guys.
Kris mentioned it earlier, home of the state boys and girls FHSAA finals for a very long time. And there was a few years they went to Tallahassee, but then they realized that was not the right move. But here in Polk County, and every year, part of the pageantry of it is trying to get to RP Funding Center, and in the past, the Lakeland Center. You just wanted to get to Lakeland. This year, the high school football, you had to opt in, and then everyone made the playoffs, no district titles or runner-up. Is basketball going to be the same as football, or is it going to be the old format?
It's going to go back to the old format of the district champs and the district runner-ups this year. So, you know, it's different for us because we didn't schedule that way. Usually, when it was that way, you played everybody in your district twice. So when we all scheduled, most of the teams scheduled like strength of schedule just to prepare for playoffs, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting how the seeding goes for districts, you know. But looking forward to it, you know, it'll just be the same for us, just fighting for a top spot in the district, and you know, just trying to get to the playoffs and make a strong run for things.
So just to clarify, you may not necessarily play the district opponents in the regular season, but then from how those teams finish, then the seeding will be for that district, and you'll go into a tournament style.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think like last year they did like a max preps power ranking, and they'll continue to do that, and that will seed each team for the district. So.
Okay.
Well, Coach, talk about the beginning of the season. You're still, you know, in you had your tip-off classic, but as you start the season, who you start out against? What is it looking like? And you know, you talked about that maybe a slower start, but how do you get your guys ready? Yes,
sir. We actually start off with George Jenkins on next weekend or next Tuesday, actually. And then we were to play on that Friday in the Metro Challenge, which we've done the last few years, but they had to cancel. And then we were to travel to Jacksonville on that Saturday for a tip-off or for a classic that we've played in the last few years, but we won't be able to do that either. So, you know, it'll be a few scheduling challenges, but trying to continue to play a tough schedule to prepare us for a district tournament and for playoffs. So, you know, hopefully there'll be some things that change that allows us to get out and play some. But, you know, a lot of times that's good for the team bonding, you know, being able to get out and about and play other tough competition. And so we still hope we get that opportunity to do so.
You talk about Polk County teams. I know we'll hear from Coach McGriff a little bit later, but I've been around him enough to hear him say more than once that if you can get out of Polk County, then you have a chance to win a state championship. Yeah. I'm not trying to get you to make any predictions, but have you found the same is true? You know, playing the strong competition within the county, you don't have to go out of the county to find those good teams to get better for a playoff run? Yeah,
most of the time, yes, sir. That is very true, and it's funny you mentioned that because last year we had I've been doing a home and away with Leesburg the last few years, and they came to us on last year, and as I spoke with him this year, he's like, "No, Coach, we need to come to you guys because we know that this is where Polk County is where we can get our strong, tough competition, and being on the road helps us prepare, you know, so they're going to come to us. And that's so very true. You know, there's a few teams around here in Polk County that, you know, night in, night out, you walk in their gym, you're going to get a dog fight. So that's what we expect. We expect with the teams that we do have on our schedule in Polk County. So yes, sir, that is exactly true.
Well, that's fantastic. Coach, we wish you nothing but the best. I personally wish you good luck every game except for one. You know I have to say that, but being a Bartow guy, but we certainly wish you good luck, and yes, we'll have you back on the show soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, we mentioned it earlier, the FHSAA state finals were held each and every year here in Polk County at the RP Funding Center, and we've got some footage of the 2019 girls state finals. Take a look at this action. We'll be right back here on Sports Central.
Lakeland, our girls tournament is 6 days long. We start on a Monday. We have 6 games on Monday, then a championship game on Tuesday. We repeat for 3 different classifications on Wednesday and Thursday, and we come back Friday and Saturday. So the tournament itself is 6 complete days long. We start again early on Monday morning and go all the way through Saturday night. The Florida High School Athletic Association sponsors the Girls State Basketball Championship here in Lakeland each and every year. Teams qualify to come to the state championship by winning a district, then regional or sectional game. We have 9 different classifications this year, 1A rural through 9A, 4 teams from each classification. So we have 36 teams playing here in 27 different games in a fantastic tournament that Polk County and Lakeland do a fantastic job hosting us. The RP Funding Center and Lakeland have been hosting our tournament for quite some time now. Here in the state of Florida, we have a very big state, as you quite know. It's over 900 miles from Pensacola to Key West. We try to find a central location whenever we possibly can, and Lakeland happens to fit the bill for that. The RP Funding Center is a good venue. There's a seating capacity for, I think, 7 or 8, perhaps 9,000 people. Our fans enjoy coming here. The host committee has done a wonderful job having us here, and so we're very pleased to be here in Lakeland. For all the participants who come here, I know they are very excited to be able to represent their school. I had the opportunity when I was in high school to go to a state championship game also, and I'll never forget that experience. When our girls or boys leave a state championship, they will have, I hope, fond memories of the experience that they've had, and certainly it helps them grow to be young and mature, or more mature young adults. I really get a charge out of watching our student athletes play. It really doesn't matter to me whether it's girls sports or boys sports. I think educational-based athletics is a fantastic opportunity for young people to grow and mature. I have 2 daughters, both of them are athletes. I was an athlete, my wife was an athlete. We absolutely love the game, and it's a fantastic opportunity for fans, for student athletes, and for anyone to participate in that educational athletic experience.
Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal Duncan alongside Kris Keprios, and it's always so much fun to go out to the RP Funding Center and see those teams competing for state titles.
Yeah, it always is, and like you said last segment, it's been here for such a long time. It's become just a fixture in the world of high school basketball, and we're happy that it's that way. So, great facility over there.
Yeah, Polk County Sports Marketing, proud partner of that event, as well as the championship committee, and just a great group that ensures that event comes back each and every year. Speaking of sponsors, Extended Stay America, this segment sponsor for us, and I'm looking forward. I told you at the start of the show I was looking forward to this, and Coach Robinson was terrific, and our next guest is very, very, really good at coaching. We'll say it that way, but we want to welcome the Winter Haven High School girls basketball coach, Johnnie Lawson, to Sports Central. And Coach, welcome back.
Hey man, I don't take it for granted getting invited here, so I appreciate it. I love coming.
When you're a state powerhouse, it pretty much ensures a invitation to the program. But we know that as a longtime coach in Polk County, you care less about Sports Central than you do practices and molding your teams, and not only for championships. I know Coach Robinson, yourself, Coach McGriff, and many of the coaches in the county. It's about teaching the life lessons and instilling those values so they can be successful, not just at Winter Haven, but as they move on, correct?
I think so, and I think even, with coaching girls, I think they need a father figure around. I mean, of course, it's always good to have women coaching too, but I think it kind of gets pushed to the back burner that a lot of girls need men coaches around as well. So I'm definitely, I'm trying to mold them in a different way. And I think it's worked. I've head coached there for 13 years, and I was 11 years assistant coach with the great LaDon Gibson. So I've been there quite a long time, and working with girls has been a passion of mine. I had an opportunity to go to the boys, and I know one of my good friends, McGriff's in the building, but I feel like girls work harder than boys. Girl power.
We may just have to combine these two segments and just put Coach up here.
I was going to say at the start of this segment, this is one of those shows we need to have the cameras on the entire
time.
Maybe we don't, I don't know, but the entire time, because just in between in the breaks to hear the coaches going back and forth, and just the talent in this room as far as coaching has been really cool to hear them going back and forth as a friendly way, of course. But Coach, you just mentioned the amount of time you've coached, and at Winter Haven especially. Obviously, there's been things in the past, hurricanes have come through, there's been adversity, but probably never a year like this. And I'll ask this every segment, but how have you prepared your team for this season, having such an odd off season and everything going on? And has there been any difference, or do you keep the same message?
The same message. It's definitely been tough because we're used to being in the gym all during the summer. So the girls having a layoff was huge for them, but I able to talk to my buddy McGriff and just how he was doing things by sending different messages to the phone, the different workouts. So we tried that as well, and the girls would send me videos of them doing the workout. So we knew they were actually, they were still working. And this may be a little breaking news. I was just sharing with him. I don't know how true it is, but Broward County, I just got a text from them, and they're saying that they're shutting down the whole thing, all the sports. I just got a text from a guy down there. So we just don't know what's going to happen. So, you know, I'm trying to just, you know, keep our, I mean, I had seniors come to me about senior night. They want to do senior night very early because they don't think they're going to have one.
Yeah.
So I had a kid crying yesterday, and she was like, man, we need to have it Monday because we don't know if we're going to have it in January. So it's been, it's difficult times. It's difficult times, but, you know, I just rely on what God has told me. We just going to rely on him and trust in him, and whatever happens, happens.
Absolutely, and you talk about senior night. My son was a senior in the Bartow football team, and first game of the year, senior night, and certainly because, you know, like Coach Robinson said, you don't know,
Right.
and I had that same conversation with my son. Play every game like it's your last, and
Yeah.
it used to be cliche.
Right.
Now it's absolutely true as far as any potential shutdown, but you know, especially for yourself and Coach McGriff, as you look back to last season, maybe not for the Winter Haven program, but maybe a surprise run for everyone else. How deep you guys went last year. Talk about that, because you were the week before, then the next week the boys happened, and then the next week everything was shut down. So that opportunity, those experiences happened right on the heels of the COVID shutdown. So talk about last year's team, how special it was, and then knowing a few weeks later that run could have been cut short.
It was special because I absolutely, one of my darkest times as a coach, you know, I sat in the gym a few nights with the lights off and kind of wondering if I, you know, had time pass me by, because I didn't feel like I had them prepared the way they should. You know, when you have somebody like Billy D. Washington, who was our assistant coach, one of the best coaches to me that we've had here. You know, of course, he was trying to kind of keep me motivated, but I did not think that I had prepared them enough. I didn't think we were good enough. And the whooping that we took from St. Thomas Aquinas in Orlando, we got beat by 38. And I think that was the lowest point in my career. And I you know, I thought we would, you know, maybe we went to South Carolina, had a great tournament there. And when I came back, I still needed to understand that they weren't ready. But I thought that we had put the cookies in, we had put the chocolate chips in, and I thought they were ready. And it was a whole lot of fluff. And it wasn't their fault. There were some things that happened that I could see it on the court that I didn't teach them. So when we got beat by 38 and people were on the sideline, that's never happened before, that they were laughing at me and at the team. Ely, the team that we played in the state championship, I did not know this coach had pretty much looked up to me for a long time. And I saw him over, and he was having a very heated conversation with a gentleman. And he came over and he said, you know, I told him, he was saying they suck. You know, Winter Haven is over. And he said, I told him, do you know you're talking about one of the greatest programs of all time? I predicted, he told me, I told him they'll be at state. And that man said, you're crazy. They're horrible. There's no way they're gonna be at state. And we went back, and I got myself together. After I had a long cry that night, I got myself together, yes I did. And we went right back to work. 7 days a week now. Now we're kind of even working on Sundays now. We're working. And end up, man, we started clicking at the end. We played the number 8 team in the country. They walked in, and there were fans like, these little girls? How are they? 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". And probably by the second quarter, we were up by 17. It was a shock. It was surprising. I knew we were clicking because we had run about 8 straight. But it was a special season because what I taught them worked. I taught them never to quit, never to give up, never to stop. And we were right there against Ely, Final Four game. Had the game won, and some kind of way, man, with 10 seconds left to go, my kid missed a shot. 2 seconds left. They hadn't got a transition bucket, and that's how they won all night. And the last play of the game, she threw it down, Bob laid the ball up, and I think me and Billy were just looking at each other for a while. The crazy thing about it, I thought we could have won the state championship at the end. So it went from being like, I don't even know if I need to be here anymore, to we could have won the state championship. So I thought it was a special team. One of the most, I think, probably I don't want to say, because you won state championships, but that was a huge season for me last year. because I was in a bad place.
Yeah, and sometimes you hear coaches talk about teams that didn't win it that might have been the either most talented or the hardest working or things like that, and it sounds like there's a similar story there.
Yeah.
Well, how many of those ingredients, going back to the cookies, do you have back for this year's team, and what does this year look like for you?
Well, I only lost one. I lost one, and she was big, don't get me wrong. But everybody else came back, so we probably got about 7 or 8 back. Have a really great freshman that came in. She's about 6 foot, and then we got some transfers that came in. So, I think it could be a talented group, but I think the new ones that came in have to understand how hard it is to work, the pace of the game, the pace of practice, and there's days I'm going to come in and I'm just going to send you to the Grove, Orange Grove. I mean, I don't know why. So, and they have to understand that. Like, what do we do? First of all, I don't like the way you put your jerseys in your shorts, because I'm trying to get here that we're going to have times where there's going to be things that come up and we're not going to know what's going to happen, just like now with the pandemic. So I think, with the new kids, just understanding my philosophy, and you never know how things are going to go. But I really think, down the road, if we have an opportunity in January, I think it could be a very special team.
Yeah, and you talk about the program and continuing that success. What you were just describing, from my understanding, this is the Winter Haven way. This is how we do things around here, and that prepares us for anything that pops up during the season, right?
Absolutely. And my Groves, my buddy out there, he makes sure that the center spurs are this high, that the pit is a long pit. The goats are out there. I tell them, man, just turn them loose.
We might have to send our crew out there.
Well, it's a pit. It's a workout.
Yeah.
It's a workout, and it's a very strenuous and tough workout. And there's a lot of things out there, man. and that never goes on film.
Well, Coach, that was going to be one of the things I asked. You talked about when you were talking about last season that there were some things you just knew you didn't teach him, or that's always going to be things you got to teach him physically on that side. But this year, like you just said, with the pandemic and not knowing if you're going to have another game, how are you teaching him on the mental side of, hey, you got to be prepared? Or you may have already answered that, but it's a totally different way of coaching, right? That's with all this going on.
I tell you, every day I'm coming in with a different philosophy, or I'm trying to give them things that have happened in my life that was hard, because it's just so difficult because we don't know what's going to happen from day to day. So every day I come in with a different story or philosophy, but no matter what, we have to continue to work hard. And I tell them they're women, and unfortunately, even the salaries are going to be different when it comes to men. So we got to make sure we outwork everybody to make sure we earn it. And that's why I say, I've watched boys, I've watched girls. This guy, that McGriff's practice is unbelievable. And, I kind of try to match that up with what we're doing at practice. So we have to go harder. I still don't think girls' sports get the respect that they deserve. I just don't believe it. I mean, you look at the salaries and the money that's coming in. And so, that's the chip that we have on our shoulder, that we don't just want to compete against the girls. We want to make sure that we line up against the best in Polk County and the state with boys. We want to, why we didn't win. I always watch Coach McGriff, and I watch what's going on with him and some of the best teams in the state, boys, because I want to tell we're ballers, not just girl ballers. We're basketball players, and that's what I keep reminding them. Don't put us in a box. Well, you can't run that type of style of defense. They're girls. Yes, we can. So I don't want them to be put in the box, and I think if I can keep that out, once they leave me and become parents, I think it works.
Well, I think between yourself and Coach LaDawn, you've done a pretty good job of that. Of course, she went to the Polk County Sports Hall of Fame.
The greatest of all time.
Just a few years ago, absolutely. And if I'm correct, counting your shirt and then knowing what Bartow has, I think there's 10 state titles between the two schools. And then there's more than that in Polk County with other state titles in Polk County. So when we said as we started this, there's a really good basketball in Polk County, and we wish you nothing but good luck this season.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Definitely.
So I think we'll probably see him at the RP Funding Center.
Yeah, I think so too.
No
Hey,
pressure, Coach.
We know
Hey,
why,
you coach at Winter Haven. You already have that pressure.
we know why he has all those rings. I mean, I'm ready to go run through that brick wall for him. He'll still play.
But not the orange grows. But,
Maybe not the one I couldn't handle it.
all right, thanks
Too
so
old.
much, Coach. Well, as we go to break, we're going to take a look at some footage from the 2019 Boys FHSAA State Finals. We'll be right back here on Sports Central.
We have 9 classifications in boys basketball, and we put on a state championship every year in Lakeland. We have a semifinal and a final for each classification. So there's a total of 27 games. We have several hundred athletes that come through here, and over 100 officials, and obviously thousands of fans. The level of talent in the state of Florida is outstanding. We always have Division I athletes from 1A to all the way to Class 9A. We've had some really, really great basketball players that we've seen this week, and we have more games to come. Well, it's a big thing for their schools, communities. It's lifetime memories. They get to come to a big arena, play basketball in front of their fans, try to win a state championship, and they get to make lifetime memories. Lakeland's a good central location, and the Lakeland people and RP Funding Center have always been good to us. For the last, I believe, 20, 25 years, yes, it's been here. We enjoy coming here, our fans enjoy coming here, and we hopefully will continue to come here in the future. There's thousands of fans, obviously, that come into Lakeland, and most of those fans, we like to think, spend the night and stay here, especially if their team wins the first game. Then they're going to play the next day, and they obviously come to the community, and they're going to eat and stay and do all those things. So we're really proud to be here. We love Lakeland, and they do a tremendous job, and our partnership with them is really strong. Well, it's a great brand of basketball. It's really exciting. Our kids really compete hard. It's worth it to come out and just check it out, and watch the kids compete and watch them play. There's been some great games. There's always great games. So, well, I love watching the coaches coach and the kids compete as hard as they can. When they get to this stage of the basketball season, you know, they play with a lot of urgency, and they try to win the game. Obviously, they're trying to win, but they leave everything they have out on the court. So it's fun to watch the kids compete. The coaches coach really hard, and just the fans get excited about, you know, it's either win or go home. So it's pretty exciting.
Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal Duncan alongside Kris Keprios, and this show is just flying by.
It is, yeah. It's a good one, though. It's fun.
It's lunchtime, and it's a good transition to our segment sponsor.
It is, yes.
Harry's Seafood Bar and Grill. Nothing?
I I'm hungry, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But it's a great place.
Well, we've been talking quite a bit about basketball, and we told you as we came on today that the entire show is going to be dedicated to basketball and a rich history of basketball here in Polk County. And our next head coach is certainly a part of that history, and we're going to welcome Terrence McGriff, the head basketball coach at Bartow High School, to Sports Central. And Coach, welcome back.
Thanks for inviting me. Enjoy being here.
Tell us about Bartow basketball. You got 11. No, I'm just kidding. I know that it's been certainly because you and I've had numerous conversations, not just about basketball, but school in general. And Kris has hit on it a few times with our other coaches about kind of the trying times and trying to get through this. But tell us a little bit about how you're preparing for the season. I know you've played a couple games, but talk about the preparation that went into it.
It's just been weird. I don't want to say it's been a bad year. It's been because of the pandemic has said it's been a bad year. Because for us, before the pandemic hit, it was a great year.
Right before.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask that, days before.
So the biggest thing is that it's affected how we build a team. All of the gatherings that we have, we call them family gatherings, where we go out to eat or sometimes we go in the fall to hotels, to tournaments, to hotels, and stay and build chemistry. We haven't been able to do those things. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not alone. I mean, nobody in the state's been able to do them. And so it's just been weird, and we're trying to find the right way to build a team, because as a coach, that's what you're doing. You're building a team, and you're teaching them how to build teams. They're going to be family. They're going to be heads of households, and that's a team. Or you're going to be on a job, and that's a team. And so it's another way that we can teach them how to build a team. And you're talking about difficult circumstances, like, so you got to move forward. We're doing all the social distancing and stuff that requires, and yet when we practice, I mean, we don't have masks on, you got to play. And so it's just been weird, and it's still weird. Like, it's 6 or 8 months into it, and we still haven't totally, I don't think we'll ever get used to it. And so here we are. Season's here.
Well, so how have you been preparing them? You can't get that team chemistry off the court, but on the court, how? Anything different?
Not much different. Yeah. Because I mean, so I'm wearing a mask. The assistant coaches are wearing a mask. Sometimes when you're trying to project your voice, like I'm away from them, and so I can take the mask down. But not a whole bunch different. You're having to wash your hands more, like we've got the sanitizer there after practice, or when we get, doing a water break, hey, put that sanitizer on. Yeah. Not a lot different. I think the differences for us has been our football team was really good. So this is the first time in years we've had to wait. We've had 3 or 4 guys that played football that are coming back. So this week was the first week back. And we've had an injury this year, which we've been pretty healthy. And so that set us back. So I think the typical normal things that happen during a season is the things that we can control, because right. COVID we can't control. Yeah. It's what's happening, and so that's where we're at.
So at the end of last season, you win your second state title as a head coach, and as we mentioned before, it literally came right before the shutdown.
4 days before.
And in that moment, do you realize, wow, this could have not happened?
I realized it the next week. I'm on my couch about to watch one of college conference tournaments. And then the Ivy League decides they're not going to play. And I'm still thinking, because I know that the pandemic, I know things are happening with the coronavirus, right. But I didn't understand the gravity. Like most Americans didn't understand the gravity. And so that happened. I'm thinking, well, they're jumping the gun. And then I'm on my couch, because that's what you do. It's been a long season. I'm kind of vegged out. Everybody leave me alone. The girls are running around the house, my daughters. And the Utah Jazz is about to play. We've got a kid, Tony Bradley, that's on the Utah Jazz. And that's when the NBA pulled the plug on that game. And so I'm thinking, wait a minute now. This is a $1 billion league. They ain't pulling the game unless it's serious. So that's when it finally clicked, like, this is serious. And if they're going to stop, and then so the next day, our country shuts down. And so it was interesting to see that, to witness that. And we're still partying, like we were still celebrating the state championship, and then everything shuts down, like, and it's like surreal. So like where you were when the towers fell down, like I know where I was. So it's like, well, here's where I was. Yeah. I was like, this ain't happening in America. This is America. Not that I don't want to sound like but this is America, and this is happening here. So it was and we're partying and celebrating, and then it's like, we're in a pandemic. We can't go anywhere. Like, this is America. And so it was very different.
Well, and Coach, you've won championship before.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, or did your players even tell you maybe they felt a little cheated? I mean, we talked about a lot. The kids didn't get to graduate and things like that, so they were cheated of that. But you didn't get to take that victory lap for that championship, right?
No, they didn't feel cheated. It actually gave us more time to reflect because we were at home.
That's good. Yeah.
We were having Zoom meetings. So after about a week or two, we're like, well, we got to have something to continue to build team. So we were having Zoom meetings with the players, the graduating seniors, as well as the returners. And so we were able to talk and reflect a lot. So we got that part in, and we got a chance to celebrate in June when everything opened up. It was a very private but a ring ceremony, and the rings were pretty big. So
That made up for it.
They were happy with the rings, and so that made up for it. So they were disappointed about the graduation part, but the state championship celebration, besides the bigger celebration where the community could have been involved, it was like as normal as it can be when you're home and things like that.
Good.
Yeah.
And it's a valid question because in 2010, when the team won,
yeah.
Billy Donovan, the head coach of the Gators at the time, came down for a banquet. So
Yeah.
there was a high expectation,
Yes.
and certainly those kids did a great job. We talk about Tony doing well in the NBA, and I believe there was just a trade, and now he's going to be in Detroit. So there's a lot of connections to Detroit in Polk County with the Tigers.
With the Tigers.
But probably, arguably, the best player on your team, Walt Clayton Jr. just signed a Division I scholarship to play for Rick Pitino. And he said, I neglected to say that, but was that just wanting to get it, let's take care of it so we can play the season, or just absolutely jumping on an opportunity with a legendary coach who develops NBA players?
I think the coronavirus scared him into thinking that nobody was going to be, rightfully so, and as we move forward, that he wasn't going to get the opportunities in December, January, and February to showcase, and he didn't want to lose this opportunity. And so then it being Rick Pitino, who's a Hall of Fame coach, now he's going to be in his first year, and him targeting Walt, saying, you're going to be our guy, you're going to get a chance to come in and run the point. If, you got to work at it. We're not going to give it to you, but you're going to get a chance to come in here and possibly start if you'll do what we ask you to do as a point guard. Certainly played a factor in it after the kid decided, listen, coach, because we were kind of telling him to wait, thinking, well, things will open up. Just being positive, but he's probably right in thinking this is opportunity, this is a Hall of Fame coach. I know it's our owner, and so it's not Kentucky and Louisville where Coach Pitino had been, but this is still a great opportunity to play for a Hall of Fame coach and a free education.
And a team that's been to the NCAA
tournament. A team that's been to the NCAA. They play 30 minutes from New York City, so you're going to play big market games because of Pitino's name. You're going to play against the Kentuckys, the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12 schools. So it was the right decision for him. And he's going to have a chance to go there. He signed last week, signed on Monday, and talked to Coach Pitino and his assistant. He's going to have a chance to play right away. So the right call for him. Good foresight by him. And we're excited for him and excited for us because it gives the other kids hope that if I work hard and if I continue to improve and if I have good character, that I can have a chance to go in. I mean, he's getting a free education. It's $45,000 a year to go to our own. It's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap.
So, congrats.
Well, and you talk about his leadership and really anyone that watched the state championship game last year, he was not in that game much because of foul trouble and some other things. Not saying he didn't do some special things, but it really took the entire bench. And you had a very deep bench last year. I think you ended up 33-1 or whatever.
31-1.
31-1. And arguably, this is the question I wanted to ask Kris because I love to see him squirm. Arguably, this team's it could be potentially better than that team.
Right. That team's character is something that there's no measure for. So it's intrinsic, and that was the difference. It was not our most talented team, as far as talent-wise. This year's team has more talent. That team was more connected, and the character of the seniors that graduated was the reason we won. Walt and the juniors from last year were the better players, better basketball players, but the leadership and character of of those guys that graduated was why we won it. That's been my challenge for this year's team. I said, listen, we got more talent. We've got talent. It's not going to be a talent problem. I think the people on the outside last year wondered, hey, are they talented enough? You know, they play really hard. They got great chemistry, but are they talented enough? Well, the question is the opposite for me. I said, this question is going to be an internal question. Everybody on the outside knows we got the talent to win. So I'm questioning your work ethic, your character. Can we have the connectivity that last year's team had? We got beat last night by 20 by Windermere High. So I'm going to say right now we don't have it, but it's early. And this year's team, we've got all the moving pieces, so it's different. We can get there. And so that's our challenge, is to get there. We'll get there.
That's what I was going to ask, Coach. Last year, you mentioned that team had that character. Did they have it at the beginning of the year, or is that something you saw grow and that you think this team can grow throughout the season?
I think they had it because the juniors and seniors last year all played together as JV guys that came up through the program, and so they knew each other and had the chemistry and the camaraderie and the character. I think this year's team, we've got 4 or 5 new players, 2 that aren't from our community, and then 2 or 3 that are moving up from JV, and so it's a different dynamic. And it's going to take time. Like last year's team, it's why we won 29 games in a row. You won 31-1. This year's team can be as good and we can win a state championship, but it's going to happen a different way. It's going to take more time. Right. Coach Lawson talked about baking cookies. Well, I bake cakes, and so it takes a little longer. His stuff is quicker. Cakes, the bake a pound cake takes about an hour and a half, and you got to let it rise, and you got to make sure.
We're talking about cake, but nobody's bringing cake or cookies to the
We just told you we were hungry.
You got to put it at 350 degrees, and you put it at 325. It's not going to rise. If you put it at 375, it's going to burn, and so it takes the right ingredients. And we've got all the right ingredients. And hopefully, so our biggest hope is that COVID doesn't, shut us down, or like with our football teams, somebody gets quarantined during district tournament time, which is nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. Sure.
But you're just hoping and praying that doesn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, we thank you so much. We're running out of time here, but good luck to you.
Thank you. Thanks for
and all Polk County teams, because
Yes.
I know you're as big a supporter of all the other Polk County
It's
teams.
going to be another good year in Polk County.
Yeah, it should be. So thank you so much. Well, we have some tremendous athletes. We're going to take a look at our athlete spotlight, and we're also going to see a package of the Central Florida Wheels of Steel. This is an event that happened this past year that's coming up in, I think, next weekend here in Polk County. So take a look at these 2 packages. We'll be right back here on Sports Central.
My name is Damyah Joyner, and I am a senior at Victory Christian Academy. What got me started in volleyball is my mom actually found a website for, Little League volleyball, and she's like, "You want to play volleyball, Damyah?" I was like, "Sure." So 2 nights later, I just fell in love with volleyball, and ever since then, I just couldn't stop thinking about volleyball. What kept me going is definitely the support that I got from my family. But first is the Lord. He guided me to come play this sport, and I'm so grateful, thankful that He gave me the opportunity to play the sport that I love. I play opposite, which is the opposite of an outside hitter. That's the right side of the court where the setter sits behind, so that's the position I play. People see me as a different player because I'm a lefty, so they're like, "Oh wow, she's a different player." They see something that they don't see in other players. I feel like it's a little bit easier because it's harder for the defenders to read me since I'm a lefty, and I think it's way much easier for the setter to work with the lefty on the right side. If you don't have mental toughness, it's hard to push yourself to where you need to be in life. And definitely volleyball has kept me, pushing and becoming myself, to become a better leader. Literally, volleyball is 90% of mental, and if your mind is not there, then there's no reason for you to be playing the sport, In order for you to push yourself to become the best that you can, you have to tell yourself every day, "I'm going to do better, I'm going to become a better player." So I think just mental toughness is the #1 thing in volleyball. And I train between 3 to 5 hours a day, and I think training does a lot. I'm tired, but like I said, it's all mental. You have to push yourself, and if you just don't have that mindset, then there's no way for you to accomplish things in life. It has prepared me to become more responsible and to be mature, I wouldn't think that without volleyball, I wouldn't have succeeded in life, especially in academics. So the only thing that's pushed me right now is God and volleyball to become what I want to become in life. I would definitely say that height, weight, all of that doesn't matter. It's all about the heart and the mentality that you bring onto the court. So I say don't let anyone tell you what you can't do, because you're the only person that knows that what you can do. So just keep pushing yourself and become a better person than you were than yesterday. I think my favorite memory is my 6th grade year here at Victory Christian Academy, where I started. Just making it to districts was, I didn't understand what districts was in the middle school. So when the team, like told me like how important it was, it just changed my mindset. And then we just made like a lot of memories on and off the court. Definitely we always have late night talks about academics and volleyball. And so my mother tells me that sports is not supposed to be over academics, and academics is not supposed to be over God. You always have to put God in front of everything. So, she gives me that little pep talk like, hey, these are your standards, you have to keep pushing yourself and become a leader. And so after high school, I am going to continue to play volleyball in college. I'm going to study in biology, pre-med, to become a pediatrician or OBGYN. I would like to thank my team for pushing me to become a better player. Definitely this Victory team, it's special. I think this is probably the best high school team that I've been on, and I couldn't ask for a better team. I couldn't ask for a better coach. She's also the reason why I am who I am today.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Grady Judd. I'd like to invite you to come to a unique event that will benefit over 12,000 children at the Early Learning Coalition right here in Polk County. Make sure to mark your calendars to attend the 2020 Central Florida Wheels of Steel Custom Indoor Motorcycle Show December the 5th and 6th at the RP Funding Center. We will kick off the show with an honor ride in memory of Lakeland Motorcycle Police Officer Paul Dunn, who died earlier this year in the line of duty. This will begin a special ride in Munn Park at 9 a.m. on December 5th, and we will ride together to the RP Funding Center. This ride will be a reminder that safety is an ever-present focus as we travel in traffic. Whether you're bicycling or riding a motorcycle, please wear a helmet. To further promote bicycle safety, there will be a kids zone for children to highlight the event's Ride the Right Way campaign. The first 100 children will also receive a free bicycle helmet, and we thank the wonderful folks at Lakeland Regional Health for offering to do this. Please remember to ride the right way.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal Duncan alongside Kris, Keprios, and some good footage there. This has been a great show.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we were talking during the break. We should have just had all the coaches on at once, kind of a round table.
Yeah.
Just sitting around talking. It's great to hear from them, and great leaders and coaches, and it's pretty cool.
Well, a lot of hardware between all three of those coaches, and I'm not sure if any of them came from our segment sponsor, the Trophy Shop, but a great partner of tourism and sports marketing, and Sam's off screen clapping at that segue.
That was nice. I want to know if the Trophy Shop can give me one of those shirts that Coach Lawson had. That was nice.
I think you have to earn those shirts.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I don't think five state titles for Winter Haven girls basketball, and then we had Coach McGriff, 5 in the history of the Bartow program. Pretty cool stuff.
2 coaches of the year for the state of Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. That little commercial we saw there with Sheriff Grady Judd, Wheels of Steel. I know that's coming up.
Hey, if Sheriff Grady Judd is promoting your event, you're going to have a good event. It's going to be a lot of fun. And this is the second year this event has happened, both years at the RP Funding Center. So it's a little unique for a motorcycle show. It's a custom motorcycle show. So you can go, if you watch those shows on TV where they soup up the custom motorcycles. That's kind of what you're going to go and see here. Mm-hmm. They're going to have parts you can buy and things like that. But second year, it's unique to have it indoors, and certainly during this pandemic, indoor events can be sometimes people are intimidated by. But a lot of precautions have been put into place by the RP Funding Center. We know from the events that they put on. Sure. We have a whole health and safety plan along with them. Mm-hmm. So they're taking all the steps necessary to make it a safe event. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, there's going to be things you can check out with the motorcycles, the custom bikes, and even if you're not a motorcycle enthusiast, it's really cool to go. It's kind of like artwork you're going to see.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty
these
neat.
guys put these things together, and it's pretty amazing to see these custom motorcycles.
Wheels
so that's
of-
next in 2 weeks on December 5th and 6th.
Yeah,
at
Wheels
the
of
RP
Steel.
Funding Center.
Yeah, and it looks like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, and then 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday. So as Kris mentioned, December 5th and 6th at the RP Funding Center. We talked about it a little bit before, but high school football, we are in the midst of the playoffs, and there's been the effects of COVID-19 during the season. I think Frostproof High School got shut down a couple times. Lakeland, a few others got shut down, and then Bartow High School, went 8-0 in the regular season. Of course, I know this story all too well with my son being on the team, but they lose their starting quarterback Lynn Johnson that week of the playoffs, and they fall to Tampa Bay Tech, which don't take anything away from Tampa Bay Tech. That was a very good team, but we had some of our other teams that won their games.
Yeah, Geneva Classical is still alive. They will play this weekend. Frostproof, Auburndale, Lake Wales, Fort Meade, and we talked to the coaches about this with their season coming up. But it's just been and Coach McGriff said this himself. It's been a weird year for college football, for high school football.
Right.
It has not been normal. I mean, normally you run the gamut, you watch all the games, Lakeland, Kathleen, all the rivalry games.
Sure.
It's just been different. So I guess we shouldn't expect anything different from the playoffs with all the teams that were involved and some that got knocked out. But there's some still alive. They play this weekend. I just mentioned a couple of them, Lakeland and Kathleen, Lake Gibson, Lakeland Christian, Victory Christian, and Ridge. All those teams are still alive.
Sure.
So best of luck to them this week and throughout the rest of the season. And it's dodging this COVID and trying to keep your players healthy. You always want to keep your players healthy and from injury, but now you got another worry.
Well,
to think
it's
about.
even more difficult in high school because you send them home,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't really control what they're doing like a college or a professional team has done. So kudos to Dan Talbot, the athletic director of Polk County Public Schools, for all of his efforts, and then the athletic directors around Polk County, of course, Superintendent Jacqueline Bird and the whole school board for everything they've had to do, and even the coaches. They're checking temperatures and doing all these things in addition to trying to coach. So it definitely has been weird, but good luck to all those teams. We do want to say congratulations to All Saints. They won the Sunshine State Athletic Conference 8-man football state championship. That was last Saturday night at Bryant Stadium. So congratulations to them. That was pretty good stuff.
Yeah, and still a lot going on. We talked about it being a weird year. The college football is locally still kind of hit or miss. SEU had a game against Florida Memorial canceled, but next they will play their last game on the road against Ave Maria. That's coming up, and then Weber. They're going to close out their season by going on the road. So can't watch these teams play at home, but their seasons are still alive, and they're going well. So it's just one of those things. Part of this year is just hard to follow some of these teams.
It is, and we have some Division I college football on here that Sam provided in the script, and we're not going to talk about that because Florida State's terrible, and rivals Miami and the University of Florida are really good. So I don't see a reason to.
No,
and your team, USF, they're terrible too, right?
They're horrible, and their game got canceled this weekend against.
So there's really no
Navy.
reason to even talk about it.
There isn't. It's like college football's not even really happening.
That's exactly
At least
right.
outside of Polk County.
That's exactly. But at least the Buccaneers. I know we've only got about 30 seconds here before we need to start wrapping up. But the Tampa Bay, they looked horrible 2 games ago, and then turned it right back around and looked really good this past week.
Yeah, and they're beating the teams they should. The teams that are tougher, like the Saints, have been tougher for the Bucs. But the NFL has the protocols in place, and they're doing a lot of great things. Not that the college ranks aren't. It's just harder to control the college athletes than it is the NFL players. And the Bucs are still rolling off to one of their best starts in franchise history.
Got a Stanley Cup, went to the World Series, maybe a Super Bowl, but we got some sponsors we want to thank, Kris.
We do. Special thanks to Home 2 Suites, Balmoral Resort, Spring Hill Suites, 5-star RV Resort, and Staybridge Suites, being great partners of tourism and sports in Polk County.
Absolutely. You can listen to our sister show, Sports Central Radio version, 1430 AM and Talk 96.7 FM every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. You can check out Sam Baker doing a great job on that show as he's cheering off camera right now.
There was a time when we used to host that, Neal.
I know,
We're not
but
good
they don't
enough
allow us
anymore.
to do that. We're lucky to get on TV. You can also log on to centralfloridasports.com or visit centralflorida.org to get a full list of activities, socially distanced, nature activities, things going on around Central Florida's Polk County. Go to visitcentralflorida.org or give us a call if you got any questions, 863-551-4750. The next edition of Sports Central will come to you live December 4th, and I think that'll be our year in review if I'm not.
Yeah,
I think
it's
if I'm
that time
correct,
of
so
year
you definitely
to
want to check
review
that out.
everything.
December
Sometimes, you want
4th.
to.
All right, for Kris Keprios, I'm Neal Duncan. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next time.